And I think black is absolutely crushing here, but it's not super clear after a move like queen g1. Today, I'm going to go over the last 2 rounds from the quick chess tournament that I played on April 19th. So it was game in 10, delay 5. And with that being said, let's just hop right into it. Coming into this round, I had 1 point out of 3, so hoping to bounce back in the 4th and 5th rounds. And I'm playing my friend Austin. I've played him 5 times in over the board rated classical games, so I was not excited to play him again. But I decided to come up with to play something different this time around. So with c6, it looks like I'm going to play the Caro-Kann, but after d4, I play queen c7. And I actually played this because an expert, Mark Hyland, he played this against me and got a completely playable position and ended up beating me in a classical rated game. So I thought, might as well play it in a 10-minute game. So yeah, I played queen to 7 on move 2, and I'm not going to take control of the center immediately. And Austin, he played knight f3, I played d6, and knight c3, and I played knight d7. So yeah, I'm very turtly. I'm covered up. I'm not really extending myself in the center here, and I'm letting Austin develop however he wants to. And yeah, and he played bishop d3, and now I play e5. So I wait for a bit to take control of the center. I debated on whether or not I should play e5 or maybe even knight f6. I wasn't totally sure. I don't play these modern type of setups. Or hyper modern type of setups. So I wasn't sure if I should allow e5 now. Is this okay to allow? Because pawn takes. Oh, I guess in this case, e5 would hang the pawn. So maybe I should have just played knight f6 and waited on e5. But I'm pretty sure at some point I want to play e5. I know that. So maybe I could have waited. Maybe not waiting is fine. But yeah, I just played e5 immediately. He castled. Usually in these Philidor type of positions, neither side wants to get rid of the tension here. If black takes, then okay, well white has this nice centralized knight that can maybe even hop to f5, and there's no point in letting white do that. And if white takes, now for example, well now this pawn blocks out the knight really well, and was this really a good trade for white? It's an equal trade, I guess, but it's not really clear if white gains something by trading. So usually the tension is left in a position like this. So I play knight f6, just developing. He plays bishop g5, attacking, and I play h6. After I played h6, I was like, wait, did I blunder? Because I realized that bishop takes, knight takes, and for some reason I just hallucinated that this e5 pawn was hanging. I guess that's twice. I guess in this opening I realized that the e5 pawn was never. I have great control of the e5 pawn because of this queen on c7. So I guess that was just a blind spot in my calculation. But I was actually worried a little bit, oh wait, did I blunder? But I didn't have that much time to think about whether or not I blundered because it's a really quick game, and 10 minutes online is infinitely longer than 10 minutes over the board. I don't know if you guys have played that much over the board, but it really is a huge difference. Even 10-minute delay 5 feels so much quicker than game in 10 with no increment or bonus time and online. It's so different. Anyways, so I play h6, my opponent plays bishop h4, and I play g5. I'm not castled. And for those of you who don't know, I played Austin 5 times, like I said, but 2 of them were losses and 2 of them were draws. And I just keep playing different openings against him because he's so solid, it's annoying. And I just can't break through against him. So I usually throw the kitchen sink at him because he usually doesn't play the most ambitious lines in the opening. And so I feel like I can get away with doing more dubious stuff. That's just my personal feeling. So, but one thing, just to get back to this position, one thing that I noticed here was that this d pawn is only defended by this knight, and I can easily attack the knight. But he danger levels me. He takes my e pawn, and before I played g4, I was thinking about what happens if he does take, And at first, whoops. At first, I wanted to just take back. But he probably puts his knight on h4 and then maybe f5. And I wasn't sure if this was that great. Like my king side pawn storm isn't really going anywhere with this knight and bishop combo. So I didn't feel that good about just taking back. And I thought it'd be much more interesting if I just took the knight. Because now he takes my knight, and then I take his g-pawn, and then he takes back. So now his king has one less defender near it, and it's a little bit open here. I play h5 here. And this is very unprincipled chess. Like, don't try this at home. Don't try this at home. Like, this is kind of wild, and it's definitely dubious. But and I did end up getting a losing position later in this game. So, but I do play h5, and it is a bit scary for white here, because you can't really make any progress with your knights, and it's hard to open up the center more, except for the e file. And if you just play a move like e5 here, well, like, you know, everything's Black has enough defenders for the e5 square that it's fine. But also you have to worry about the move like h4, attacking the bishop, and it's just not super. It's scary. At the very least, it's scary. So Austin plays h5, after h5, Austin plays h4. So now I cannot push my pawn further and use my pawns to attack Austin, and I just take his pawn now, opening up the door for my bishop. And I come up with this wacky idea to play queen d7 here, and I'm full gunning for it. I'm playing quickly. I'm throwing everything at him because, well, at this point there's not much else to do. There's not much else to do, and he plays this good move e5, utilizing the open file, or trying to make this an open file to utilize his rook there, and he allows my queen to get in, but it's not enough here. Because I'm in a very tough spot here. Do I just play like knight g4? Well, knight g4, the bishop on g3 guards against all the checkmating threats, so he could just take with check, opening up an attack on my king. And if I go king d8, like, this is just scary. Like, I'm just down a pawn, my king stuck in the center, his king looks weak, but I can't really exploit him, I don't think. So it's very, very, very scary here. So that's why after the king moved back, I just took the pawn back. D takes e5, and he took back with a check. I actually was wondering here if it would be better to take with a bishop here. It's a bit unintuitive, but I thought setting up a discovered attack on the king would be really, really powerful here. Like, for example, like this knight is just hanging, and like, I don't have any checks. Like, I don't. I guess I could defend my king. I guess I could defend this knight with my king. This looks absolutely awful here, but maybe the king's safe, I guess. Like, so I actually thought taking with the bishop might be good. It might actually be good for him, because how do I defend the knight? If I go like bishop g7, then this is a check, and I lose my bishop as well. And yeah, this is just bad news bears. Oh wait, I guess I have this check. Oh yes, I do have this check. That's why he didn't play that. Oh wait, counter check. Whoa. It's a counter check. How often do you have counter checks? That's crazy. And my king is pretty much stuck in the center, but maybe it's fine for me. But at the very least, he can defend himself. I don't know. This is wacky. This is wacky. I have no idea what's going on here. So, but he plays more simply and just takes with the rook. I block with my bishop, and the game is over. If he plays the move bishop f5. My bishop can't take. My queen is stuck. My queen is actually trapped here. It has no squares to go. It's like calling an ambulance, but not for me type of moment where the king is like, oh no, but then it pulls out a gun and like, it's bad. It's bad news bears. And to not lose my queen, I probably have to play the move at knight g4, but then just bishop takes bishop. And I'm under an extremely horrible attack. And like I said, this bishop on g3 defends the squares around the king very well against the knight. But Austin did not play that. He played the move bishop c4. And I come up with a nice resource, rook g8, a very natural move because he wanted to attack the king. But the idea is that if bishop takes bishop, then rook takes bishop, and the king has nowhere to go, so you have to take back. And after the queen takes on g3, I pick up the rook on e5 as well. So that's the key idea here. So rook g8 is a very great resource for me. And Austin plays queen d4. Probably another mistake, maybe. Honestly, though, it's kind of hard to find the right moves. It's really hard to find the right moves at this point. But he plays queen d4, and it defends the rook. So now, after I sacrifice, and this is what I do in the game, I do sacrifice my rook. Now his rook is no longer hanging on e5. That's the key idea. That's the key idea here. He goes to h1. Actually, I do want to turn on the engine here for just a second, just to see. I wonder if there was a defensive resource here. Yeah, so queen d4 was a bad move, but queen d3, just adding a defender to the bishop and opening up the door for your rook to also join the attack was the right idea. Although this position is still extremely, extremely complicated. It is not so easy. Okay, turning off the engine now. So yeah, he plays queen d4, and I sacrifice my rook, and now his king is absolutely naked here. He goes to h1, and I was thinking here for a few minutes, and I wasn't sure what the right move was to do. Like, should I play knight g4 now? Should I play rook d8 now? Or maybe I could throw in a couple of checks first and then do those moves. So I wanted to gain some time to think and just check him, because I thought he would just rotate between g1 and h1. But to my surprise, he went g1, then f1, and then he went to e1. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And after I went to e1, I realized I have this nice move. Well, actually, no, I thought about this move for a long time. I didn't know when to do it. But I finally played rook d8. I was thinking about playing it earlier, but I just wasn't sure when to play it. But a nice move that gains a tempo. He doesn't have enough time to take. But yeah, ultimately, I was thinking about rook d8, but I decided to finally play it. And I think black is absolutely crushing here, but it's not super clear after a move like queen g1. Like queen g1 defends the back rank, and the game will go on. But yeah, black definitely probably has to be better here, but I'm not super clear on how to continue. But Austin makes a fatal move here, plays queen f2. And he doesn't usually blunder like this too often, but I gotta take it when I see it. And that's simply blunder to rook, because after queen takes, king takes, knight g4, and that's a 4 Corinos, and I win the rook here. And with that, I have a completely winning position. And I find this fancy move. He plays rook g1. I play this fancy move, rook d2, because if he takes, I force more simplification. And yeah, and now I don't have to worry as much about counterplay. But he decided not to take my rook and go into simplification. I play rook takes c2, and now I'm doing my best Pac-Man impression. Waka 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 waka. But he decides to try to stop that. He doesn't like Pac-Man. He stops that, plays rook b1. But now I attack his h-pawn, and there's no real way to defend everything. He brings his knight forward, and I decide to check him, and check him again. So, but the one downside is moving my bishop to h6. It does allow his knight to hop in with a check. But in this case, I actually allow it. I hit his knight, so he moves it. But there's one little trick in this position. Checkmate. And the game's over. So I was a bit lucky here. I think I very lucky that he didn't play the move. Where was it? Yeah, bishop f5 here. I was very lucky. Like that move, the game's over. The game's absolutely over. But luckily, the craziness of the position made him miss it, and I was able to survive here and then create enough complications to actually be winning. And yeah, it takes a little bit of luck. Well, in this case, a lot of bit of luck. So I go into round 5 with 2 points out of 4, and I'm playing against this one person named Donovan, a junior in high school. Very nice guy. I actually beat him in a classical rated game, but now I have to face him in this time control, game in 10. And in my first game against him, I played e4, and we had an Italian game. But this time, I was like, let's just play knight f3, and I'm just gonna do my knight f3 g3 stuff. And he goes for fianchetto just like me, and I decided to do my double fianchetto setup. I've been loving these positions because most people just play pretty passively, and I just get a nice center, I get nice initiative, and life is good. So he plays d5, and I wasn't sure, because I know I could play bishop b2 here and allow him to play c5 and then play c4, and just it's like I get him to not overextend, but I get him to extend forward. It's like waving a red flag in front of a bull. But I wasn't sure if I want to do that or not, and I just decided to play c4. And he played c6, which is good because he's not going for good for me, to get him to commit his pawn to c6. But not to say that it's bad for black or anything, but it's definitely a very solid setup for black. They're going to get most likely going to get the triangle of pawns here. So I finished my fianchetto, my bishop on b2, and then I get my other bishop on b2, or g2 and we both castle. So he plays rook e8, potentially playing for e5. I don't think rook e8 is the most precise move because I have really great control of the e5 square, and I decided to get even greater control of the e5 square with the move d4. And I'm just going to take the space now, since he did not take up all the space. He did not do the maximalist approach against my double fianchetto setup. And now I'm just going to, I have very natural development. My knights are good. My pawns are good. Life is good. And here he makes a backward step, and I was very happy to see that. And because now he took one step backwards, I'm going to take one step forward. And I just feel like I have a very easy to play position here. But now we're getting to a point where you castled, you made all the normal moves, but now what? Now what do you do? And I think what I should have done was probably play the move e4. And after pawn takes, knight takes, knight takes, knight takes, I just have a pleasant position, and life goes on. Life goes on. I love how this bishop is just staring into a brick wall here. Although maybe he could play bishop h3, but no, I don't think I'm too concerned about it. So I think e4 was a simple plan to go for, but I ended up playing h3. A waiting move, removing the g4 square from any of his pieces in the future, and then also preparing f4. That was kind of my idea. And I've definitely played this way in some online games before. Actually, some of the games are recorded on this channel. So I definitely played this way before, but I think e4 was a more direct way to play it, and I think I probably should have played it. But he plays queen c7, and now I play f4. I have more than enough attackers or defenders for this e5 knight, so I felt pretty good about it. He plays h5, and he's playing very, very quickly at this point. He probably has around 8 minutes or so. And I probably, getting down lower and lower. To probably 6 minutes or less. I play e3, he plays rook e8, I play queen e2, so he's putting his rook, extra into my queen. I get my queen off of the d file, and I'm overprotecting the c4 pawn, because one thing the bishop on e6 is doing is adding more pressure to this pawn. It's not hanging at this point, for example, though, because the knight guards c4. But I am overprotecting this c4 pawn for what it's worth. Then he plays this move c5. Definitely a dubious move here. I do not think he's poised to strike in the center. I think he needs to do some more waiting moves, like maybe rook a c8 first and then play c5. But honestly, this is a tough position for black to play. I'm not envious of his task, and I don't blame him for playing c5. The reason why this is a mistake is because I can do a move like a knight b5 here, attacking the queen, and after the queen moves, I take on c5 now. Well, what's the difference? And because now after the queen takes, well, now you have this weak e pawn. Well, I play bishop a3, guarded by the knight on b5 that you allowed me to play. You allowed me to play knight b5 with tempo because of the move c5, and now I'm going to win your e-pawn by force. And just look at these knights, man. They're all up in Black's grill here, and it's not pleasant. He plays queen b6. I play bishop takes e7, attacking both knights and the rook. And after the rook moves, I play c5. Danger levels. The c5 is guarded by the bishop. This b5 knight is not hanging because of the queen, and now he has to move his queen, and he doesn't have that many squares to go. He ends up going to a5, but then now I play bishop d6, and look at this beautiful guy there. Oh, awesome. Awesome. And one thing that this does, bishop d6 does, it also threatens a fork. I want to win one of your rooks, please, and thank you. But he plays rook ac8, guarding the forking square, and I rotate my knight backwards with the idea that I'm hitting e6. So ideally for him, he would like to, like if I do take on e6, he wants to take back with the knight and attack c5. And I think that would be a good place for the just e6 is a great spot for where the knight wants to be. But now if he ever moves the knight after knight takes bishop and rook takes, then the rook, it probably isn't nearly as well placed there. Although maybe this is totally fine for Black. I'm not 100% sure. But it felt like a good square for the knight. Knight d4, rotating backwards. And after he plays knight e4, now I like what that move does is it opens up his bishop on this diagonal. And yeah, this is a very, very nice diagonal. But I have more than enough I can do as is right now. I can play bishop takes e4 here, removing his most active piece, and I play really, really actively here. I actually don't know how actively I actually need to play, because I think I could probably play this position really slowly with a move like a3, for example. Although a3, the b3 pawn is defended by the knight on d4, and I'm gonna play b4 next, and like let's say, for example, b6 and b4. Like, oh man, this is juicy in a good way, in a very, very good way. So I think I could play it more slowly, but I decided to just strike immediately while the iron's hot. I play f5 here, and it is one of those like kabam type of moves. You know, a really great time to do a pawn break. And he ends up playing g takes, and I take back with the knight. There are some complications here, like for example, there's bishop takes, opening up the rook to attack the knight, and if I take, then he could take, and if I take, he could take, and I'm not sure how good this is for me, because the c5 pawn is hanging, this knight is hanging. I'm not sure how good this is for me, but after knight takes, bishop takes, there's this move, knight e7 check, and I'm going to win in exchange no matter what happens. So that's very, very good. So he plays g takes, I take with the knight, he takes my bishop, I take his bishop, and his king is wide open. It is naked. That king is not having a great time. But one of his ideas with this exchange was that the c5 pawn no longer has any defenders, and I can play, and so he can play the move queen takes c5, but this position is still completely waiting for me. I do have this move bishop d4, defended by the pawn, defended by the knight. The knight is defended by the rook, and I'm attacking the queen. And I honestly thought he was going to sacrifice his queen for the two pieces here, because this position was absolutely miserable. He's absolutely dying in this position. But he has an interesting idea. He plays queen b4, and I play queen takes h5, and I'm just like, yo, you're getting checkmated, dog. And after knight g6, I'm like, you're getting checkmated, dog. And then he plays queen f8. I'm like, oh, you're not getting checkmated. If we instant rewind here, after queen b4, the easiest way to win this game, by far the easiest way to win this game, is to just play a3. Just play a3. And these two squares are covered by the knight. This square is covered by the bishop. and now the queen's under attack on this diagonal. This whole diagonal is covered, so the queen cannot stay and rotate back to f8. And if the queen goes back to, wait, is the queen just trapped? No, the queen can go to take on b3. Queen can take on b3. Well, now after queen takes h5, threatening checkmate with the bishop and queen, knight g6, defending checkmate, then now the queen cannot rotate backwards to f8, and I just win. I just win. That small detail. A3 here. The small detail. The devil's in the details, as they say. And I miss the devil in this case. So I just take the pawn. But hey, this position is still totally winning. It's absolutely crushing here. It's absolutely crushing here. He plays knight, but he does get his queen back to f8, and it's not mate here. And what I should do is queen h5. But I'm getting low on time. I have less than 30 seconds, and I see by getting down to like 20 seconds, you know, by the time I make my move, I have 16 seconds. And I just, what am I doing? I take the queen. Because after he takes back, I fork him. And I was like, this is good. It's not checkmate, but it's good. But the crazy thing is, he could just take with the rook. And now knight d6 is not, I'm not picking up a rook. Which, that's the craziest part about the whole thing. Is that, like, it doesn't even win an exchange. That's the craziest part. That's the craziest part. And I had this crazy checkmating attack, and I just traded off queens because of low time. And I was like, I can't believe I did that. But hey, I'm still winning. I'm up in exchange. Let's do this. I move my knights. I take the rook. We trade off another pair of rooks. He wins that pawn. And okay, let's get to work. I'm up in exchange. It's completely winning. I wanted to take this pawn on a7, but I was like, ooh, knight e5. And I don't like how the knight gets in. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to leave my bishop here to keep the knight away. And I think life is good. Life is good. Which is not a horrible idea. But the game goes on. A4, you know, B4. The game is going on. I'm attacking the rook. And we realize I flagged. He claimed to win on time. I flagged like 10 moves ago. Or something like that. And that was it. That was the game. That's the end of the tournament. I was like, dang. That sucks. As I end the tournament with 2 points out of 5 with this final loss. And that was tough. That was tough for sure. But it is what it is. Good tournament. I'm excited to play another over-the-board tournament. My next tournament's going to be next weekend. It's going to be a classical rated tournament. Classical time control tournament. So I'm excited for it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.